Maxwell House Coffee presents Good News of 1939. Entertainment brought to you by the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios in Hollywood. Tonight we greet you with the regular Good News gang, Frank Morgan, Fanny Bryce, and Hanley Stafford, Meredith Wilson, and our special guests, Lionel Barrymore, Kitty Carlisle, and Doug McPhail. And here is your host for the evening, Robert Young.
Thank you, Warren. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's Good News program is a very special one. And it's dedicated to one of the most charming stars on the Metro lot, Miss Jeanette MacDonald. Jeanette's on a concert tour, and tonight she's in New Orleans. But tomorrow her new picture, Broadway Serenade, with Lou Ayres, Ian Hunter, and Frank Morgan, opens in many theaters throughout the country. So tonight we're going to play for you some of the songs from the picture. And Meredith Wilson starts the program with High Flying. Go high, flying,
flying high up in the sky. Heading straight for heaven, leaving worry high and dry.
We'll go high, flying
in my wagon to a star, in the Milky Way, and from my trouble from afar. Suppose I tumble, so what? So this, why should I grumble? Every tinkle and wrinkle in the twinkle of an eye.
We'll go high, flying,
flying high as they go by. Heading straight for heaven, got a day in paradise. From Vermont to Mexicali, we'll be high, high. You ought to be right. Even if I'll think with heaven for the apple of your eye. It's you and we want to go high, high. We want to go, we ought to go, we gotta go, you ought to go, we ought to go. High, 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 over the merry road, flying high, as they will fly, and straight for heaven, got a date in paradise.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Fanny Bryce as Baby Snooks. Snooks has been doing so badly at school that Daddy, played by Hanley Stafford, has decided to hire a private tutor so she can be given special attention. The lady is coming to the house tonight, so Daddy is coaching Snooks in order to make a good impression. Here they are.
Come here, Snooks. Let me look at you. Now take your hands from behind your back.
Why?
Because I... Oh, Snooks, they're filthy. I can't understand how you manage to get them so dirty.
It's easy, Daddy.
Well, never mind that. I want you looking spick and span tonight.
Why?
Well, Snooks, I'm taking you out of school. I'm hiring a private teacher to make you work. Oh, what's the matter?
I don't want no private teacher.
Oh, now listen, dear. It's for your own good. She'll make you a little lady.
I don't want to be a lady, and I don't want to go to school.
Well, what do you want to do?
I want to get married.
Now stop that ridiculous talk. Come here, and... Why, Snooks, what's that funny odor?
Uh-huh.
Why, it's all over you. Smells like tobacco. Snooks, what have you been doing?
I feel sick, Daddy.
Good heavens! What have you been doing, child?
I was smoking your pipe.
Oh, that's the last straw. How will I explain that to the teacher?
Don't tell her, Daddy.
Oh, she'll never stand for it. Why, she'll be able to smell you a mile away.
Is she coming to smell me or teach me?
Oh, what am I going to do with you?
Buy me an Easter bunny, Daddy.
Oh, sure, I'll buy you an Easter bunny. That'll be a fine reward for smoking my pipe and doing so badly in school.
The bunny could help me in my homework.
Now, what are you talking about?
You told me that rabbits multiply.
Well, forget what I told you. Oh, I've never been so upset in all my life.
Why?
Snooks, your teacher sent me your last few examination papers. I can't believe my eyes. They're so bad.
Maybe you need glasses, Daddy.
What for?
You said your eyes is bad.
My eyes are fine. It's your work that's bad. Why, you can't even spell cat.
Yes, I can. K-A-T, cat.
K-A-T is wrong.
K-A-F?
That's marvelous. K-A-F, cat. Why didn't you spell it N-Z-X? Well, what are you laughing at?
That's dog.
Oh, well. Serves me right for marrying such a mental giant. Nothing. Well, that reminds me. What does P-I-G spell?
Is it bed?
No. P-I-G. What is it that loves to roll in the dirt and always covered with mud, eats anything, and has hair like bristles?
Me.
No, it's pig. P-I-G is pig. Oh, you're going to make a great hit with that new teacher. I'm sorry I asked her to come.
Me too, Daddy. Don't let her in.
Oh, that must be the new teacher now.
I'm gone.
You stay here. And I want you to behave. Remember, Snooks.
If you let her in, I'll
You'll what?
I'll squeeze my neck till my eyes pop out.
Oh, Snooks. Now, please, darling. Here, take an apple.
All right, Daddy.
I'll let her in. Oh, good evening, Miss Tunnell.
Good evening, Mr. Higgins. Oh, is this the darling, sweet little child? She's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Homely?
Come here and kiss me, little one.
What for? I ain't done nothing.
Now, kiss your new teacher, Snooksy.
You kiss her, Daddy.
She has such a wonderful sense of humor, Miss Tunnell. Like a time bomb.
Well, I see you have two lovely apples there, Snooks. You're going to offer me one, aren't you?
Now, I say.
Now, Snooksy, dear, offer teacher one of those apples.
All right. You can have the little one.
Oh, but my dear, if I were offering you the apples, I'd give you the large one and keep the small one for myself.
Well, you got it, didn't you?
I see she hasn't been brought up very well.
Oh? Will you have a piece of candy, Miss Tunnell?
Oh, thank you. Now, Mr. Higgins, I think if you'll leave me alone with the child for a few minutes, we might be able to...
What's the matter, dear?
I don't want to be alone with that old crab.
Now, don't pay any attention to the child, Miss Tunnell. She's just excited. Have another piece of candy.
No, thanks. I've had a piece.
You have two pieces.
Oh. Would you mind leaving us alone, Mr. Higgins?
Well, all right. Now, be a good girl, Snooks.
Now, my dear, the first thing you must learn is manners. And I don't intend to handle you with any kid gloves. Come here.
Leave me alone.
When I beckon like this, it means I want you to come.
When I stick out my tongue like this, it means I ain't coming.
So that's how it's going to be. Well, we'll see about that.
I'll splash this chocolate on your head.
Come here, you. I can see you want a spanking.
Yeah.
That'll impress it on your mind.
That ain't where my mind is. Daddy!
Here, what's going on here? What happened?
She hit me.
She thoroughly deserves it.
Oh, yeah? Well, I don't allow anybody to hit my child, you understand?
If you'd have raised her a little better, it wouldn't be necessary.
Oh, is that so? Well, when I want your advice on how to raise children, I'll ask for it.
Suck a dick.
I'm going to get out of here. Good night.
Good riddance. The nerve of that old crow. Oh, did she hurt you, darling?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my poor misunderstood child. I'm ashamed of myself for ever losing temper with you.
Kiss me, Daddy.
You bet I will. Now, come on, dear. You get to bed, and don't you worry about school at all. I'll fix everything.
All right, Daddy. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, darling. She's a good kid. As good as you can expect. Can't expect it.
Daddy,
Yes, dear?
ain't you never going to spank me no more?
No, never. If you do anything wrong now on, I'm just going to laugh it off.
Daddy.
Yes, dear?
I hope you have fun when you find a horny toad in your bed.
Oh, why, you little...
Everybody loves the parade. And friends, here's news of one of the biggest America's ever seen. For today is the first day of the nationwide Parade of Progress. If you've been to your grocer's this morning, you may already have seen the pennants flying. Well, here's a man who can tell you about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. William P. Murphy of Sales Fulton Market in Beverly Hills.
Thanks, Mr. Howell. What we're celebrating is the tremendous contribution to our American way of life made by the American food industry. Remember what a grocery store used to look like 20 years ago, at the end of the war? It wasn't the clean, orderly store you find today with the beautifully packaged products out where you can see them.
Yes, there's certainly been a big change.
And it took all kinds of people to bring this about, Mr. Howell. Manufacturers found ways to give you wider choice, finer packaging, lower prices, standard weights, and dependable quality. Research scientists found a way to bring you new products, time savers, new aids to healthy, joyous living.
Yes, it's a record of progress we can all be proud and grateful for.
And incidentally, Mr. Howell, you've got quite a progress story to tell yourself about Maxwell House.
Yes, we have. Because, friends, years of constant research have helped us discover how to make Maxwell House better and better. And today, we are honestly proud of the contribution Maxwell House has made to coffee drinking pleasure in America. For we know the new Maxwell House is coffee that's richer, smoother, more deliciously satisfying than ever before. It's always full-flavored, always full-bodied and mellow. So when you drop in at your grocer's tomorrow, take part in this American Parade of Progress. Ask your grocer for a pound of the new Maxwell House. With your very first cup of this superb new coffee, you'll say that now, more than ever before, Maxwell House is good to the last drop.
And now a young man who's become a great favorite with our Good News audience, thanks largely to the lovely lady to whom tonight's program is dedicated. Douglas MacPhail was discovered by Jeanette MacDonald and signed to an MGM contract as a result. All right, Doug, Jeanette's listening down in New Orleans. What's the matter, Doug? Nervous?
Oh, no, not when I sing for Jeanette. I was nervous the first time when she asked me to sing for her, but she was so nice to me I forgot all about being nervous. And I've never been nervous since, singing to her.
All right, Doug, here it comes, Jeanette. Doug MacPhail singing One Look at You.
Till I beheld you, life was a bore, all of the glamour gone. Then I beheld you, standing before me, darling, change the dawn. One look at you, and all the world began to whirl around. One look at you, and soon I knew my future had been found. One smile perhaps, and then a kiss perhaps, and after this perhaps a rendezvous. I'll live each hour my whole life through for just one look at you. I took one look at you, that's all I had to do, and then my heart stood still. My feet could step and walk, my lips could move and talk, the day my heart stood still. For just one smile, perhaps, and then a kiss, perhaps, and after this, perhaps, a rendezvous. I'll live each other my whole life through, for just one look at you.
Very good, Douglas. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to present as our guest tonight Miss Kitty Carlisle, star of the stage and motion pictures, who has just been chosen the best-dressed All-American Girl of 1939 by the American Fashion Academy. Miss Carlisle. Kitty, you certainly look wonderful, I've got to admit it.
Thank you very much.
Oh, excuse me. Bob, here's a telegram that just came in for you.
Oh, thanks. Mind if I look at it, Kitty?
Go ahead.
It's from J.K. Evans, Vice President of the Maxwell House Company. Robert Young, Good News Broadcast, Hollywood. Suggest you broadcast detailed description of Miss Carlisle's gown tonight, as this will be of interest to our many feminine listeners. Regards. What an assignment.
You're the guy that can do it.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'll have Meredith and Warren help me.
I'll be glad to help you, Bob. I used to be pretty handy with a needle, you know.
All right. Well, Kitty, you certainly look wonderful.
Well, thank you again.
Let me see. I suppose you wear a dress only once, don't you, Kitty?
Oh, no. When I get a dress I'm fond of, I keep it for years and years.
Ah, that's something every girl should do. And if Mrs. Young is listening, I mean every girl.
Excuse me, Bob.
Huh?
Here's another wire that just came for you from Mr. Evans at Maxwell House.
Oh, what have they got to say now?
Well, it says, quit stalling and describe Miss Carlisle's dress. Regards.
Gee, they aren't very patient, are they? Well, Kitty, I guess I better start. Do you mind?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, this is the dress I was wearing when the Fashion Academy Award was made.
Oh, fine. Well, stand by, Warren. Stand by, Meredith.
Okay, Bob.
Oh, this is a cinch, Bob. Let me see. She's wearing a green dress.
You might describe the shade of green.
Sure. Pool table green.
Oh. Oh, no. Kitty, is it apple green?
Oh, yes, it is apple green, as a matter of fact. That's wonderful of you.
Oh, apple green. Take it, Warren.
Flash. Miss Carlisle is wearing an apple green dress.
The whole thing's green. Coat, vest, and pants.
Meredith, darling, that's a skirt.
Oh, I beg your pardon, I'm sure.
And the thing under the coat's not a vest, but a skirt. Isn't that right, Kitty?
That's right.
Shirt.
No, yes. I think the ladies would call it a blouse, Bob.
Well, how about calling it a shirt waist? My sister used to have a peekaboo shirt waist.
Never mind your sister. This is not a peekaboo shirtwaist. It's an apple green blouse, and it's made of, what is it made of, Kitty?
The blouse is silk jersey, and so is the coat. The skirt is sheer wool cut on the bias.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. What are these little dinguses on the side of the shirt? I mean, blouse.
The blouse is shirred on both sides and draped. The side pockets on the skirt are somewhat new, by the way.
They sure look classy. What do you call these little things on the coat?
Well, Meredith, it's a box coat, and these little things, as you say, near the shoulders that look like pockets, are called cartridge pleats.
A box coat with cartridge pleats. Is that preparedness or appeasement?
The ensemble is entirely non-political.
Well, we better get after that hat, Bob.
Oh, yeah. Where?
It is a hat, isn't it?
This hat is the newest thing, boys. This hat is not to be worn.
Take it, Warren.
Flash. Miss Carlisle is wearing a hat around her neck.
It's a green hat. A green hat with pink ribbons and pink geraniums on it.
Not geranium.
Don't tell me. Petunia.
No, these flowers never grew anywhere. Probably never will. They were grown in the mind of the designer.
Funny place for a garden, don't you think so?
Yes, I think so. Let me see. What have we still got to cover?
Brown shoes and stockings.
Brown, suede, opera pumps.
Green gloves.
To match the ensemble. Anything else, boys? Look carefully.
A red pocketbook.
Pocketbook. Oh, it's a bag to match the flowers on the hat.
All right, now I guess I'd better give a summary. Folks, Miss Carlyle is fetchingly attired in a green sheer wool skirt cut on the bias with side pockets with matching silk jersey blouse. Shirt and draped at the sides, box coat with cartridge pleats at the shoulders, an apple green hat with dusky pink streamers and flowers to match, which she wears hanging down her back. Light brown suede opera pumps, pink suede bag, and green suede gloves. This is Bob Young, your fashion reporter, signing off, while Miss Carlyle sings an old favorite, the title, When You're Away.
Though time may let us sometimes forget until with but a sigh the memories of a passionate love, an orphan cold and die. For me there still can be but you, some weal or woe, my love is true. A dear one, if you only knew my heart when you're away. When you're away, dear, how weary the lonesome hours. Sunshine seems gray, dear, the fragrance has left the flowers. Ever I hear you in singing, whispering soft love words to me. If I never but dreaming ne'er to be, then when you're near me, there's naught that I strive to do, save to endear me more fondly my love to you. Never again let us part, dear. I die without you, my own. Hold me again in your arms. I love you alone. Love you, my own. Love you.
Oh, that was marvelous, Kitty.
Oh, why, Kitty Carlisle, you sweet thing.
Hello, Frank.
My, but you're looking wonderful. Did you make that dress yourself?
Frank.
What?
Miss Carlyle is wearing a dress created exclusively for her by one of the country's leading designers.
What difference does it make, Bob, as long as Frank likes it?
Well, that's right, darling. I'd love you in an old flour sack. Of course, that dress you're wearing isn't exactly what I'd choose for you myself.
Oh, no?
Well, I think you could cut the gimp a little lower. You know, emphasize the jabot.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Then I'd get rid of this flouncing here and gather it up with a nice cross-basting stitch so you get more of a flare from the hip line to the knee. That'll sort of give you a London derriere.
Frank! Why don't you stop all this talk?
Young, you're interrupting the flow of ideas between a couturier and his client. Will you step into the fitting room, Miss Carlyle?
Frank, I'm sorry, but gee, as near as I can tell, there's nothing you like about my costume.
Well, don't be silly, Kitty. I'm simply mad about your bustle.
Bustle?
Frank!
What?
You don't know what you're talking about.
What?
Miss Carlyle isn't wearing a bustle.
It is. Well, Kitty will do very well to listen to my advice, because I happen to be the leading dress designer of Paris, France.
What about Schiaparelli?
Well, I don't care for Italian food, and don't change the subject. Kitty, if you'll drop over to the house some evening, I'll design a little. I'll whip
Frank!
up a... What?
This has gone far enough.
No.
It might interest you to know that Miss Carlyle is wearing a dress in which she was awarded the title of Best Dressed All-American Girl of 1939 by the American Fashion Academy.
The Mr. Academy.
Yes.
Well, chacun a son goût.
I know, Frank, and not only that, and also don't forget,
Yes.
La nuit, tous les chats sont gris.
You speak French, too. Well, I guess I better be going. I have an appointment with my hairdresser, and I've got...
Go, Frank. I'm really interested in your fashion ideas.
Oh.
Do you know much about fabrics?
My dear girl, you're talking to the world's biggest fabricator. There's something, that's not the word I had in mind.
It'll doodle a better one comes along. Listen, Kitty, Frank doesn't know moire from rep.
Well, it's true my principal interest is not in dressing women. On the contrary, I am an authority on correct dress for men. You don't happen to know anything about that, do you?
Oh, yes. You see, I edited a man's style magazine for 3 years.
You did. I must say, Kitty, darling, you're being very troublesome.
I'm sorry, Frank.
Oh, don't pay any attention to Clothes Horse Morgan. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Young, is it true that you're the style advisor for the Dead End Kids? Kitty, I wish you could have seen me when I was the style leader of London.
I wish I could, too, Frank.
Oh, I used to stroll down Savile Row on a Sunday morning with my silk topper at just the correct angle, my trousers breaking 3/4 of an inch above my instep, and in my buttonhole a fragrant scarlet pimpernel.
I can smell it now.
How the girls would swoon when I twitched my coattails and twirled my malacca.
You carried a cane?
When I was able.
Oh!
Boys, I'm not going to stand here and listen to things like that anymore. I'll see you later.
Well, I don't blame you. She's really a lovely girl, isn't she? I mean, it's too bad about her clothes.
Oh, Frank, I wish you wouldn't carry on like this. Savile Row, setting the styles in London.
Of course I did. Did you ever hear of the Ascot herringbone?
Well, what about it?
Well, its vogue started with a herringbone suit I wore one afternoon in the Royal Enclosure at Ascot. The following week, I wore a double-breasted pinstripe to the Grand National, which at once became popular as the Aintree stripe. Then I wore a sports suit and a pepper and salt pattern to the Derby at Epsom.
It's now known as Epsom salt.
I can't take that, Young. Did you ever hear of unfinished... Did you ever hear of unfinished worsted?
Yes?
Well, I finished it. I'm not going to hang around here and be insulted by
wait
a
a
man
minute, wait a minute, Frank. What were you doing in London, anyway?
I've told you hundreds of times what I did in London.
I know, and every time it was different. What's the lie today?
Now, let me think. I mean, let me remember.
All right, your time is up. What were you doing in London?
What was I? London, Piccadilly. Whitehall, Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard! Scotland Yard, of course.
He struck oil, folks. Here we go. Frank, are we to understand that you were connected in some way with Scotland Yard?
Inspector Morgan, sir. The celebrated hero of the case of the missing spark plug and the affair of the Cheltenham dentist and the Shrimpus and Rice murder mystery.
Well, tell us about the dentist, Frank. I just had my teeth cleaned today.
That's a remarkable coincidence. Well, the dentist's case was not without interest. He was married to a beautiful manicurist.
Gee, my dentist married a manicurist. What a coincidence.
Yes. Well, this dentist and his wife were constantly bickering.
They fought, huh?
Tooth and nail. I was called into the case when the manicurist's body was discovered in a trunk on the Thames. I immediately suspected murder.
What a ghastly crime. Who done it?
Who did it?
I don't know. Didn't you find out?
No, I was obliged to resign from the force. I had made up my mind to return to America, but my plans were altered by a visit I received late one night in my Baker Street lodgings.
Who was it, Sherlock?
A beautiful young lady, strictly Mayfair in a Limehouse sort of a way.
Well, what did she want, Frank?
Well, it seems that her brother had been receiving threatening letters, and she wanted me to talk to him, so I met her the next day at the Islington Stadium.
Islington Stadium?
Yes, there was a football match in progress, and I had to sit through it all, answering her insipid questions about the game.
Soccer?
No, but I felt like it once or twice. Oh, you mean the game? No, it was rugger.
Frank.
Yes.
What were you doing at a football game, anyway?
Well, I found out the girl's brother was the star center forward for the Tottenham Hotspurs, and that his team was to play an important match the following day with the Milford Arsenals.
I don't understand this, Frank, but gee, it's interesting.
A gambling syndicate had threatened this boy's life if he didn't throw the game. Well, you know what a threat like that does to a man with my sporting instincts.
No, what?
Well, I made up my mind to protect the boy. The next day at game time, I put on the lad's jersey and marched onto the field with the rest of the Tottenham Hotspurs. At any moment, I expected to be picked off by a sniper in the stand, but I was cool as a cucumber.
Go on, Frank.
Well, the Arsenals kicked off. I received the ball and fumbled. To make a long story short, I played through the whole game with the courage of a lion, but very little skill. I lost the game for the Hotspurs and returned to the dressing room to find my client shot through the head. It was ghastly.
What a day.
Yes.
You played a horrible game, your team lost, and your client was killed right under your nose.
Yes, I could have stood all that, but the final blow wrecked my life.
What was that?
Well, the bookie ran off with the money I bet on the other team. So long, fellas.
Say, Bob, isn't it almost time for our cup of...
Coffee? Yes, it is, Warren. Won't you be host?
With pleasure. Friends, wherever you may be, all over the country, we invite you all again to join us in this famous old Thursday evening custom. A moment's relaxation over a steaming, fragrant cup of Maxwell House coffee. Pull up your chairs, won't you, and have your coffee with us. And while you're sipping it, I'd like to say one thing more. Before we're on the air again, it will be Easter morning. Say, Bob, isn't it almost time for our cup of...
Coffee? Yes, it is, Warren. Won't you be host?
With pleasure. Friends, wherever you may be, all over the country, we invite you all again to join us in this famous old Thursday evening custom. A moment's relaxation over a steaming, fragrant cup of Maxwell House coffee. Pull up your chairs, won't you, and have your coffee with us. And while you're sipping it, I'd like to say one thing more. Before we're on the air again, it will be Easter morning, and we hope you will awake to find it gloriously bright and shining. And on behalf of Maxwell House and our Good News cast, we wish you a very joyous Easter. Meredith? We pause briefly for station identification.
KFI, Los Angeles.
This is Bob Young again, and we continue our Good News Maxwell House program with Lionel Barrymore, Kitty Carlisle, and Meredith Wilson. Tonight, the MGM Theater of the Air presents Lionel Barrymore in one of the most famous roles he ever created, his great picture drama, The Voice of Bugle Ann. Our story begins in the warden's office of the state prison in a Midwestern city. The warden has sent for one of the prisoners, Springfield Davis, played by Lionel Barrymore. Spring Davis is now 75 years old and has served 4 years in prison.
You sent for me, Warden?
I suppose you're curious to know what this is all about, Pop.
Well, about the only thing I could figure was maybe I wasn't doing so well with the flowers, Mr. Hanrahan. Maybe you was sending me to another prison.
Oh, they're beautiful. I don't know where I'll get another gardener your equal. No, Pop, you're free.
Free? Why, well, the judge said 20 years. It's only nigh under 4.
This is a pardon from the governor.
And then I can go home?
That's it.
But it's kind of got me stumped. The governor don't know me, and I never ain't had the honor of meeting him.
Well, perhaps you've got some influential friends.
No, I guess not. At leastwise, not that I can remember being on speaking terms with.
Well, generally, the prisoners have a pretty good idea of who's responsible for a pardon. Suppose you tell me something about your case, and maybe we can figure it out.
Well, sir, if you want to understand why I'm here, the first thing you got to know is this. The only thing I really give a darn about, except my wife and son Benji, is hounds and hunting. There's a lot of us down there in my part of the state feels the same way. We breed our own hounds to hunt the fox, and we train them ourselves, too. Well, sir, one night about 5 years ago, a hound of mine named Molly Pitcher left 5 pups. One of them was kind of ugly, off-color little runt, but we saved them all, even the runt, and who seemed to be especially fond of me for some reason. You know how some hounds are.
I got to say one thing, Spring. That there runt at least has manners.
Oh, she's developing right nice in more ways than one. Guess she kind of takes to me. Going to be a fine hound, Ma.
I hope you're not going to be disappointed. She's got a voice like a little rabbit squeak.
Oh, we can't tell anything about her voice yet. She's only a baby. Give her time. Give her time, and maybe it'll be something beautiful.
Oh, Lady Ann is learning awful fast.
Yes. That pup's developing sense. Wouldn't be surprised if she turned out to be the best hound we ever had.
Did you hear her, Pa?
Why, Ann's got a bugle voice. Here, Ann. Say, Ma. Oh, Ma.
Yes, Spring. What is it?
Ma, we just heard Ann's voice. It's the sweetest voice in the world. It's just like a bugle.
And pray, what's a bugle voice?
Well, it's music, that's all. Come on, Ann. Bugle for Ma. Bugle, Ann. That's the name I'm giving her. Go ahead. Bugle, Ann.
Sounds ordinary to me.
Oh, shucks. Well, pretty soon we started Bugle Ann fox hunting, and her voice could be heard high and clear above all the rest of them. Well, sir, I reckon I was about the proudest and happiest man in the state with that hound until old Jake Terry moved back into the neighborhood. He took over the old Camden place that had been left to his wife before she died and moved in with his daughter. Pretty girl about 18, named with her mother's family name. Camden Terry was sweet like all her folks was, but this Jake Terry was mean. What's more, he didn't like hounds and hunting. The first thing we heard, he said he was going to raise sheep and build a wire fence to keep them in. Of course, Mr. Warden, you understand about keeping prisoners fenced in, but maybe you don't understand why Jake Terry's scheme of building a wire fence upset the whole country like it did.
No, what was your objection to that?
Well, it would have been all right if the foxes had sense to keep away from it, but sometimes the foxes just jump right through it. You know, the fox is small enough so that he might get through the fence without getting hurt, but if the hounds follow him, they're sure to get hurt. Well, maybe killed, choked to death, hung up on the wire.
I see. Did you explain all this to Mr. Terry?
Oh, of course we did. We got up a deputation of all the men in the neighborhood and went and called on him. Very civil, but he was just ugly.
You listen to me, Spring Davis. If your hounds get hurt, it'll be their own fault. I'm going to build a fence. Hog-tied, bull-strong, and horse-high to keep them out.
But, Mr. Terry, can't you build a fence to keep your sheep in and still not hurt our hounds? And besides, our hounds never killed any sheep.
Well, they ain't going to get a chance.
Nobody ever put up such a fence in these parts.
Well, mine will be the first then.
But, Mr. Terry, now look.
Come on, Benji, we're going.
There's something else you better hear before you tear off. A hound ain't the only thing that's going to get hurt if it comes around my property.
Ain't nobody going to get hurt, Mr. Terry, unless you say so. Well, when Terry passed that remark about a hound ain't the only thing that'll get hurt if it comes around, he was referring to my son Benji. You see, Benji was going with Terry's daughter, Camden. Yes, sir, it made things awful hard for Benji when the trouble come. Well, Terry got his fence built, and one night we was all hunting, all but Benji. He was out with the Terry girl. Well, the fox happened to run for Terry's place, and we hustled over there to try to head him off. But one of Cal Royster's hounds is already hurt, trying to get through the fence, and Bugle Ann wasn't with the rest of the pack. So we clumb over the fence into Terry's pasture to have a look around. I blew my bugle for the hound. Well, wasn't no answer.
Come on, get out of this pasture.
Oh, howdy, Jacob. I come in here after my hound. He say, careful with that gun.
If your dog is here, it's got no good business among my sheep.
It's Bugle Ann. She wouldn't hurt nothing. But she's small enough to come through your fence when the fox brings her here.
Now, listen, get this straight, you old buzzard. I'm going to raise sheep. And I don't care a hang for all the hounds in the state. You keep yours off of my land, or they'll get a dose of number 10 shot in the hind end.
Here's Benji.
Well, what's the matter?
Well, something's happened to Bugle Ann.
One of my hounds got cut open, Terry. I don't reckon you could be decent enough to staple down those ragged ends of wire, could you? Or shall I come around and staple them for you?
Oh, no, you won't. That fence is mine. You good-for-nothing ridge runner.
No, just a minute.
Let go of that
Oh,
gun.
no. Stay out of this, son.
I just didn't like standing here talking to a man with a loaded shotgun. Here, I'll just keep these shells. Now, here's your gun. And I'm mighty sorry I had to do this, Mr. Terry.
You'll never get another chance.
Now, you stay out of this, Benji. I'll take care of him if he's hurt Bugle Ann.
But we don't know for sure if he's done that, Paul. Well, maybe she went out on the other side. Why, say, listen.
That's her. It's a mighty fortunate thing for you, Bugle Ann's out there running safe and sound.
Yes, it's fortunate for the hound she's out there and not in here.
Come on, Benji.
I hope you don't hold this against me, Mr. Terry.
You're a Davis, aren't you?
That's my name.
Well, I don't like it. And don't you come near my girl, Camden, anymore. You hear me?
I care a lot for Camden, Mr. Terry.
Foxhounds and Davises. They're all the same breed. And I'll kill any cur that steps on my grass.
Jake, if you shoot a Davis hound, I'll blow you clean to glory. So we got off Terry's land. I went up to the top of the ridge looking for Bugle Ann, but while Cal and his boy was walking along the edge of Terry's place, all of a sudden they heard a hound yip. You know, like they do when they're hurt bad. Well, they come up and got me, and I went home and got my rifle, and then we went into Terry's place again. There was Bugle Ann's track, sure enough, unmistakable. It was, because she had a missing toe. The tracks was there, and then they stopped. And when I saw that, I was certain Terry'd killed her. I looked round for him, and just then he come out of his barn with the shotgun in his hand. What did you do with her, Terry?
Get out of here, you old devil.
You better answer me.
I never killed your dog, but I'll put some slugs through you if you don't get out of here.
Put down that gun.
Get out of here, look out!
So they tried me for murdering Jacob Terry. There wasn't much defense I could make, seeing as how I'd shot him in broad daylight in front of half a dozen people. So I didn't deny it.
Now, Mr. Davis, you went over Mr. Terry's fence and into his yard armed, didn't you?
That's correct.
Do you mean to tell me you were prepared to kill a man because of a dog?
Oh, now, wait a minute. I guess you never owned a hound.
Answer the question.
Well, I am answering it. It kind of answers itself to anybody that ever owned a hound and loved it the way I did Bugle Ann. Judge, you may remember what Senator Vest said about a dog, or I reckon you do. He said the best friend a man has in this world may turn against him and become his enemy. The money a man has, he can lose. His son or his daughter that he's reared with loving care may prove ungrateful. And those who are nearest and dearest to us, those that we trust with our happiness and our good name, may become traitors. The one absolutely unselfish friend that man can have in this selfish world, the one that never deserts him, the one that's never proved ungrateful or treacherous, is his dog. And when the last scene of all comes, when death takes the master in its embrace and his body's laid away in the cold ground, no matter if all the other friends pursue their way, there by his graveside will that dog be found. His head between his paws and his eyes sad, but open and watchful, faithful even to death. Yes, sir. I'd kill a man if he killed my friend without no reason. And a hound is as much a friend as any man, except that he ain't got none of a man's faults. Yes, sir, I ain't denying I killed Jake Terry 'cause he killed Bugle Ann. I didn't want to do it, but I just had to. Well, that's my story, Warden.
Well, Pop, it doesn't make any difference how you got your pardon. Now you're free. You can go home. I'll telegraph your wife you're coming.
Thank you.
Goodbye, and good luck, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Hanrahan. Thank you, sir.
Once more, we present the pretty girl in the apple green dress cut on the bias. This time, Kitty Carlisle revives two of the greatest songs ever written by Vincent Yeoman, Hallelujah and Great Day. Sing 'em, Kitty.
I'm recalling times when I was small in light and free Jubilee days. Oh, folks praying, everybody swaying, loudly I shouted my praise.
Friends, we've talked tonight about the big celebration that's going on this month throughout the food industry, the nationwide Parade of Progress. That's a parade in which we're proud to say Maxwell House has played a big part. You see, over the years, we've found many ways to make wonderful improvements in Maxwell House, and so bring better and better coffee right into your home. One such improvement was the development of the now famous super vacuum can to bring you coffee not just days fresh, but roaster fresh, with all that important coffee flavor and goodness sealed in, none wasted. Then, improvements in the famous Maxwell House blend to bring you coffee far richer, more full-bodied, more deeply satisfying. Again, the new radiant roast process, which roasts each coffee bean evenly all the way through. It brings out all the true, natural goodness and flavor of this wonderfully enriched blend. And then, to ensure you're getting the greatest enjoyment out of every cup of Maxwell House you make, there are now two scientifically correct grinds. There's the regular grind for the percolator or boiled methods, and the special drip grind for any type of drip or glass coffee maker. And yet, with all these truly important improvements, Maxwell House is selling today at prices far lower than 10 years ago. So when you're at your grocer's tomorrow, be sure to ask for a pound of the new Maxwell House. If you haven't tried it lately, your very first cup will tell you what a marvelous coffee treat you have in store. You'll discover in this new Maxwell House what progress in coffee blending and roasting means to your personal pleasure and enjoyment.
In the MGM Concert Hall, Meredith Willson presents a composition originally written by Tchaikovsky, as adapted by Kahn, Stothert, and Ward for the new MGM Jeanette MacDonald picture, Broadway Serenade. The name of the song is For Every Lonely Heart. going, Meredith. We're standing by for our Easter finale. It isn't Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It isn't Thursday or Friday. No, sir. On my calendar, I seek for a certain very special day that happens next week. It isn't payday, Mayday, heyday. It isn't Saturday either. It's Easter Sunday. And when church is through, there's a very special time, Kitty, for me and for you. It's time for promenading, and I'll be with you soon.
All the best folks are parading
On a Sunday afternoon, we'll rent a horse and carriage,
and I'll be proud of you.
we'll talk about a marriage on the busy avenue.
And then we'll ride to the countryside. I'll burst with pride.
In your Sunday gown, you're the talk of the town. Now you can have the twilight, and you can have the moon. Give me those happy moments on a Sunday afternoon.
Bob, when Easter rolls around again next Sunday...
Yes, Meredith?
A certain Beau Brummel you're going to see.
Oh, yes?
Yes, sir. Pearl gray spat, boutonniere, and waistcoat.
Well, who will that be, Meredith?
Me.
Well, talk about your Easter outfits, Robert.
Yes, Daddy?
I've got a combination that's the best.
I can imagine.
Yes, a matchless gray with little ivory buttons.
Daddy, are you really going to wear your underwear?
No.
I will wear a ribbon on my auntie and a pretty little hat with feathers, too. And the lace that's on my little Sunday panties.
No.
I think I gotta go someplace.
Well, Snooks, you're just like all the grown-up ladies. Yes, sirree. Now, as for me, I'll have to wear last year's cravat.
Why, Warren?
Because it looks like I'll be busy till next summer. Me, making payments on my wife's new Easter hat.
Oh. When the time comes for that Easter promenading...
Yes, Frank?
I'll be there complete with cane and striped pants.
Striped?
All the pretty girls in town will be parading with their sisters and their cousins and their aunts. I will bow, and as I raise my faultless bowler, I will cast a gleaming smile at some fair maid. Then, bedazzled with my cuspid and with molar, she will take my arm and join me on parade. What do you say to that, Lionel?
Well, Frank, I think new Easter togs are dandy for those who can't afford them every year. But if sometime the cash is not so handy, you'll always be in style if you wear a great big smile.
You can have the twilight, and you can have the moon. Give me those happy moments on a Sunday
Well, that's all there is for tonight, folks. And may I remind you that we have another grand program arranged for next Thursday night, featuring the regular gang, Fanny Bryce, Frank Morgan, Hanley Stafford, Gilbert Russell, Meredith Wilson, and special guests, Virginia Bruce and Melvin Douglas, and yours truly. And may I at this time wish you all a very happy Easter. See you next Thursday, and in the meantime, go to the movies and be sure to see Jeanette MacDonald in Broadway Serenade with Lou Ayres. Ian Hunter and Frank Morgan, produced and directed for Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer by Robert Z. Leonard. This is Bob Young saying good night.